Welcome everyone to this presentation video on getting started using the RealDWG SDK. To understand the process of creating a standalone RealDWG based application, this video should be used in combination with the toolkit documentation and the content of the older videos referred to at the end of this video. We're not going into very much detail or coding, as the primary objective of this video is to show how to set up the developer version of your custom application, setting it up in the way that is equal to an end user install. Let's start with launching Visual Studio. And we're going to use one of the samples that comes with the SDK. Program files. RealDWG, samples. We're using a managed application written in C#. So let's start building the dump.dwg sample. Now that we have a successful debug build of the dump.dwg application, let's look at some of the properties. You can see that the target output directory is the location of the RealDWG toolkit. As the dump.dwg is a console application, we will need a command window to run it. Let's navigate to the RealDWG toolkit folder. The dump.dwg sample is a very simple application, and we have a sample drawing only containing a couple of lines and circle entities that we're going to read in. That's pretty much it. Obviously, we can also debug the application if we set it up in Visual Studio with our drawing as a command argument. The dump.dwg sample application will run because it has access to all dependencies, runtime modules in the toolkit location. Visual Studio also creates a copy in the Visual Studio Solution debug folder. Let's try to run that. It doesn't launch properly because it doesn't find the runtime DLLs that it requires. So to run it truly standalone on our developer machine, we need to add a setup project to our dump.dwg solution. I'm using the Visual Studio installer project type for my setup project. They're using Wix in one of the other videos I mentioned initially, and I will be referring to at the end of this video. Before we go on with the setup project, let's have a quick look at the documentation that comes with the RealDWG SDK. Before you start creating your own standalone based on RealDWG, you should read the release notes, redistribution, and tips and techniques chapters. In the redistribution chapter, you can read about the redistribution models that you will have to include with your deployment, both required and optional depending on what features your custom application will need. There's also a mapping between libraries and runtime modules if you're writing a native C++ application. And using Orca, you can also look at the merge modules to investigate which DLLs are included with each merge module. In the tips and techniques chapter, you can read about the RealDWG installer creation and the procedure in detail. The merge modules that come with the SDK are located in the redistrib subfolder. For the merge modules to be configured and installed properly on the end user machine, there are a couple of properties that need to be manually edited in the MSI. However, it's more convenient to edit those properties directly in the ObjectDBX merge module before creating the MSI. The ODBX host app regroute setting describes the registry entry where your application resides. It also defines the RealDWG host registry information that allows for all object enablers to automatically install for use by your RealDWG application. The created registry key is similar to an AutoCAD end user install registry setting, if you're familiar with that. AutoCAD is in that sense just another RealDWG host application. You need to set the ODBX host app reg root setting such that this is the same value returned by your user registry product root key function for our managed sample, or ACDB host application services get registry product root key for a native application. Please look at the two videos referred to at the end of this video to get more detailed information about the registry key value and the host application services implementation. So now I set the target platform to 64-bit. This is in the setup. The company name to Fenton CAD and the product name to Moneymaker, and the version number according to the ODBX host app reg root value. And now let's add the project output from the dump DWG sub-project in Visual Studio. And let's disable the dependency on ACDB managed DLL because this will be included with the object DBX MSM. And then also check the prerequisites for .NET version and also the Visual Studio C++ runtime. You can also have a look at the video referred to at the end of this video for more details about including Microsoft redistributables, the Visual C++ runtime, MFC, and other things. So, but beware that those samples that I refer to are for older versions. So there's going to be a different version of the runtime in Adam's video. So the ODBX MSM, this is the merge module with the ODBX host app reg root that we changed before. And I'm going to include just the required modules. You can go and look in the help file yourself for the optional modules for DTN import or whatever features you need in your custom RealDWG based application. So let's see. Okay. I'm going to add all the required modules from a list I have on the side. There we go. Let's build the product or the setup. Okay, went well. So let's have a look at the output. There it is. Let's just install it straight away. You can see the location will be Fenton CAD Moneymaker. So let's have a look. Here it is. And all the runtime modules and other files included with our merge modules were installed. So now we go into our properties and instead of having the RealDWG SDK as target directory, we will put it in Fenton CAD DWG Moneymaker. And then I need, it's a console application, so I would need a command line argument for the very simple drawing that we prepared. All right, test DWG. So let's put a breakpoint somewhere here and let's go. And we hit the breakpoint just to prove that it is working, and we get the output. That's it. So now we have our developer version of the end user product. Let's have a look at the registry also. DWG moneymaker version number. We could have included Fenton CAD as company name. If Fenton CAD would have more than one product, maybe that would be nicer. The RealDWG help file is located in the docs subfolder of RealDWG. So the videos I mentioned before, there is one. There's a short version on the AutoCAD dev blog called Introduction to RealDWG by Balaji. It's based on managed code and using Wix for MSI creation. In this article, you can also find a link to the original DevTV video by Adam Notch. This is a longer video and it's a bit hard to jump back and forth, but it does cover RealDWG application development in every necessary detail. Just remember that the attached sample applications are based on previous versions of RealDWG and not compatible with the Visual Studio .NET and Microsoft redistributable versions. So you'd have to create your own version that is compatible with the RealDWG version that you have licensed. Thank you everybody for watching.